Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, the top 2024 NFL Draft news to know and how it impacts the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe you live underneath a rock. Maybe you don't follow me on social media at Mitchell Renz 365. But I've been tweeting out some updates, and the biggest update is the Las Vegas Raiders tried to make a trade up with the Washington Commanders at number 2 overall to probably get Jayden Daniels. If you missed that, this is from Ian Rapoport. While the Commanders and Patriots have received calls from teams attempting to move up for a QB, Washington has shown no indication it would move per me and Mike Garafolo. New England would move for the right offer, but the Pats just haven't gotten such an offer yet. Also, another update around the NFL Draft from Dianna Russini. Teams trying to move up for a quarterback calling Washington are being told they are not moving. Washington's GM Adam Peters has publicly stated the Commanders feel great about staying at number 2 and picking their quarterback. Now, I know we've had a lot of different discussions, and I know there's a lot of people that see this report out there and they go, Mitch, stop talking about it. The Commanders are taking Jayden Daniels at number 2. The Commanders are taking a quarterback at number 2. The Raiders don't have the ability to move up. I could also say this. The NFL Draft, a lot of smoke. I can also say that the Commanders are just trying to drive the price up for the number 2 overall pick because they know that the guy they want, Jayden Daniels, doesn't want to play for them. So my question to you out there is this. Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. Do you want the Raiders to trade up for Jayden Daniels? And, you know, I've seen some people say, oh, just because the Raiders called the Commanders and said, hey, we're trying to move up to number 2, people are like, oh, it doesn't mean they're going to get Jayden. The only quarterback that the Raiders are legitimately going to trade up into the top 4 picks for, say it with me, is Jayden Daniels. Give me a yes, give me a no. I think you guys know where I kind of stand on this. I obviously want the Raiders to move up. I am team F those picks. If you believe that you're a quarterback away, if you believe that you're a Jayden Daniels, a legit NFL superstar away, then you need to make it happen. And I know every single player is a risk, but there's not too many players that are walking into a situation that I feel as comfortable about this one as I do. I believe in Antonio Pierce. Do you believe in Antonio Pierce? I hope so. I also know that Jayden Daniels has that relationship with Marvin Lewis, with Antonio Pierce. I also believe in what the Raiders' offense currently looks like. To me, Jayden might not succeed with the Commanders. Jayden, I don't think he succeeds with the New England Patriots. If Jayden Daniels wants to have the best NFL career, it's with the silver and black, whether you like to hear that or not. Coming up here next on the show, I got the latest report on the Raiders trying to trade up. And if you did not see this report today, this gives me at least a little bit of hope that Tom Telesco was a man of his word, because I am kind of fed up. I shouldn't even say kind of fed up. I am fed up with all the BS that Mark Davis fed us, Josh McDaniels fed us, Dave Ziegler fed us. I'm somebody where I want to believe, and I do believe people until they give me a reason not to believe them. Tom Telesco on Monday said that they're going to get aggressive. I believe Tom Telesco after that report down there. If you don't know when Jeremy Chugs and I are going to be live for the 2024 NFL Draft, here it is right now. This is when we will start Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We got tons of giveaways. We got tons of prizes. We're going to have picks for all 256 this year. All 7 rounds. We will get the picks before you see them on TV. Don't be late. Join the largest Raiders draft party on the internet. Let's go to this one from Mike Garafolo. And I had a few people say, Mitch, I can't see the tweet. Well, it's because Garafolo blocked me for sticking up for Yannick Ngakoue. It is what it is. Not surprisingly, the Raiders are among the teams who tested the Commanders on moving out of pick 2. Even after Washington GM Adam Peters told the media the team planned to stick and pick, sources say. When I saw this told me if the Raiders are that aggressive to pick up the phone and call the Commanders about pick 2, what do you think they're going to do for pick 3 and 4 if Jayden's on the board? If pick 3 and 4 are available and Jayden's right there, if the Raiders had the balls to do this, they're definitely going to have the balls to pick up the phone and call 3 and 4, which we'll talk about here in just a sec. But my biggest takeaways from the Raiders making this are AP and Tom Telesco are really trying to move up for their quarterback in Jayden Daniels. Telesco spoke about an aggressive plan and basically how going into the draft they have all these different plans ready to go, because I have said on the show, you need a plan A, you need a plan B, you need a plan C, a plan D. You need to have your plans ready to rock and roll so that way draft day happens, you go, where are we at? Okay, here we go, and you're ready and you're planned to go. Telesco is proving you that he is a man of his word here. Also, the Raiders, they might not trade up. but they are definitely trying to do so. Hell, they're already trying to do so, and they've been trying to do so. I also think if Jayden Daniels is available at pick 3, the Raiders will try to make another trade with New England. Obviously, you don't know what's going to happen. Patriots did say that they are open for business, but the one important thing to think about with this draft in particular, the asking price is high. It is high, but it could be the Raiders' final chance at Jayden, because I think New England picks up the phone if the Raiders call, and the phone call goes, AP Telesco, I'm going to draft Jayden Daniels here unless you give me an offer. If you know that that's the offer and that they're going to take your guy, or they're going to be, because what you don't want to do if you're the Patriots is you don't want to say, hey, the Vikings are also calling me here about this pick, because you know the Cardinals, they're a lot more willing to trade out of 4. If it gets to that point, the Raiders might have to overpay a little bit, but if you're confident enough to move up to 2, you're definitely confident enough to move up to 3. Coming up here is going to be my final projections to trade up for Jayden Daniels. I got to trade the move up to 2 of what I think if it's draft day and Peters goes, all right, final offer, give it to me. I got that deal. Patriots, final offer, give it to me. Cardinals, final offer, give it to me. I'm going to overpay a little bit, but it's my final offer for the silver and black. I'll show you all those trades in just a second, but I wouldn't trade Game Time in for anything. If you're looking for last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed, Game Time is your one-stop shop. And if you're like, Mitch, how exactly do I get started? Create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today for the last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Think about if you could draft Jayden Daniels at number 13 overall. That's how good of a deal Game Time is. And whether you're looking for baseball tickets, events under $50. I mean, I literally just talking to Alex about this the other day because Alex wanted to go to a Dallas Stars game. Also, the Mavericks are right now in the playoffs. And I looked at her and I go, unless it's in the events under $50 section, babe, we're saving up because we got to move May 1st. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there that are like, hey, I can go to an event for under $50. I can go to a playoff game going on right now. And if anybody out there's been thinking about going to an NBA playoff game, been thinking about going to an NHL playoff game, Game Time is the perfect app. Why? I want you to wait until about 3 hours until puck drop or until tip-off. Then go on the Game Time app, look at the deals, and then about an hour before the game gets going, and this is obviously if you live close enough to get there in time, hour away, look one more time for the prices. You're going to be amazed on how good of a deal it is, and I already saw somebody down in the comments earlier was like, Game Time is super easy to use, and it's how I get all my tickets. If it's trusted by the nation, it's trusted for you, and I know Choco Bear swears by it as well. Promo code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Here we go. Let's look at these trades. And again, it is important to note that these trade prices to move up are a little bit higher than what you would probably see in some past years. On top of that, the silver and black are going to be competing with the New York Giants, which now there's some rumors around them trying to trade up to number 3. I don't know how much involved the Broncos are going to be to move up, but it's still a team to look at. The number 1 team that the silver and black are going to have to compete with for that pick to potentially trade up to 3, trade up to 4, it is the Minnesota Vikings because they have already acquired that second first-round pick from the Houston Texans. They got 11 and 23 as it stands right now. So here we go. Now remember, these are the, hey, here is your take it or leave it type of deal, your final chance to get it done. And I know how expensive these picks are, but if this is what it costs, this is a projected cost for the Commanders. Now, I talked to our Commanders host here at Chat Sports, and I said, what's your biggest team need outside of quarterback? He said left tackle. Well, guess what? If this is the final chance that you can get Jayden Daniels, this is what it might legitimately cost. Your first 3 picks this year, a first and a second next year, a second-round pick in 2026, and then guess what? You're giving up Colton Miller at left tackle. Would you do this trade if it meant getting Jayden Daniels? Because this is legitimately what I think it would cost the silver and black to go up to pick number 2 with Washington. So let's just say, well, hey, we got lucky. Jayden Daniels didn't go off the board at number 2. He falls to pick 3. What do? I'm picking up the phone. I'm calling Elliott, the GM for the Patriots, and I go, what's the deal? This is what I believe is probably what it would end up costing the Patriots. You're giving them your first and second round pick this year, first and second round pick next year, second round pick in 2026, and then you're also throwing in Malcolm Koonce. Remember earlier in the show I said our biggest competition is the Minnesota Vikings? The Vikings don't have a second-round pick in this year's draft or in next year's draft. So if I'm Telesco and I'm Antonio Pierce, that's going to be my, if you will, cherry on top in terms of how can I compete with Minnesota to give you something that they simply cannot do. To me, it's adding in those 2 extra second-round picks, 44 and in the following year. And yeah, I don't want to move on from Malcolm. But, like, if you don't legitimately think that you're going to give him a contract extension at the end of this year, then this trade does make a little bit of sense. Jayden Daniels somehow slipped by number 2, number 3. I'm picking up the phone, and I'm getting this deal done, okay? And if it costs even a little bit more to do it, if you have the opportunity to get your franchise quarterback at this much of a discounted rate, because, again, if AP and Telesco are willing to make that deal with the Commanders to move up to 2, knowing the cost, then whatever the cost is here at number 4, they will get that deal done. If Jayden Daniels somehow slides down to pick number 4, he is a Las Vegas Raider. You better lock it up right now. This is what it would cost. So you get pick 4, you give up your 1st and 2nd this year, a 1st and a 4th in 2025, and then one of the biggest needs that Arizona has is Byron Young, which some of you are like, what type of value does he have? He's an Alabama player, 3rd-round pick last year. Throw him in, maybe a 6th-round value all in all. Coming up here, I'm talking a lot about Jayden, but my thing that I do on this show is I always got to be honest with y'all, right? Some days we talk about things that I'm excited to talk about. Some days we talk about things that I'm not as excited to talk about, right? I looked at the comments on my Max Crosby trade idea video, and he said that he was open to getting moved. I look at my comments when I talked about Tom Brady yesterday. It's part of the biz. And also when things come up about things that I don't want to come up, like my hopes now are slowly going down that the Raiders legitimately have a shot to get Jayden. I'll tell you what those are coming up right now. The first thing is, according to the latest reports, which we already kind of ran through, the Commanders plan on taking the number 2 overall pick. Because the Commanders are selecting number 2, that does make me a little bit nervous because they can still just take Jayden Daniels. Now, obviously, if they go in a different direction, I get a little bit more excited. There was a report that came out as of today, April 23rd, that the Patriots are going to take the number 3 pick. So the report that came out today was if the draft started today, April 23rd, the Commanders are taking their pick at number 2. The Patriots are taking their pick at number 3. If the Commanders take pick number 2 and the Patriots take their pick at number 3, Jayden Daniels will not be available because I believe one of those 2 teams will take Jayden. The next one was this. Schefter believes that Jayden is going number 2 overall. So even though Schefter last week said, hey, get your Commanders jerseys ready, then he follows it up with saying that he doesn't think that Jayden wants to be a part of that organization. Now, as of his most recent report, is Schefter believes Jayden is the number 2 overall pick. And then it's what I always say, the latest Vegas odds. Vegas knows. Vegas is dealing with so much money. And don't get me wrong, they can, bait people in with certain odds here and there. But when you look at the latest from Action Network on what the BetMGM odds are doing, you're going to lose a little bit of hope as well. As you can hear, my voice slowly deflating. The number 2 overall pick is a little more tricky. There has consistently been a back and forth on who the Washington Commanders would select between quarterbacks Jayden Daniels and Drake May. May was considered the possible number 2 pick before the draft process began. After Daniels won the Heisman Trophy, he started to shoot up the draft boards. Fast forward to a week ago, and Daniels seemed to be likely candidate to go to the Commanders. He was a minus 400 to go 2nd overall at BetMGM. The rumors started to shift in the other direction. May's odds of going number 2 overall were growing, and Daniels were dwindling. May moved all the way up to plus 125 to go 2nd overall, while Daniels was minus 155 at BetMGM on Monday. As of Tuesday morning, when I am making this video, Daniels is now the clear favorite to go number 2 overall. Daniels is minus 450 to go 2nd at BetMGM. May is plus 350. So I'll be real. My hopes on the Raiders trading up to get this young man right here, they are dwindling. They are getting smaller. But you know what? That fat lady ain't singing yet. And I have been in this business for long enough, and I know that when people say this is a lock to happen or that's never going to happen, sometimes crazy shit happens. And dang it, I am crossing my fingers and I am hoping that some crazy shit ends up going down on Thursday and the Raiders figure out a way to trade up and get Jayden Daniels.